Well, Semper Fi, always faithful. It is the famous motto of the U.S. Marines. But the U.S. has the U.S. shown the same commitment to those who served?
Senior investigative reporter Stephen Stock found families split apart by that very question and joins us tonight. Stephen.
That's right, Raj and Jessica. You know, the U.S. Justice Department statistics show that 1 in 100 vets end up in jail or prison here in the U.S., and they're more likely to serve time for violent crimes than non-veterans. Under a policy dating back to the Bill Clinton administration, that has meant hundreds of non-citizen veterans now finding themselves deported, split apart from their families. Whether it's eating together at the local Chinese restaurant or taking a walk around town with the kids, family binds Stephanie Ribara and her sister Myra Pacheco together through both the best of times and the worst.
Growing up, my dad's always been one of my biggest role models.
Stephanie and Myra's dad, the children's grandfather, is missing from their lives.
My dad was the only parent I had, and he was taken from me.
A family separated by a U.S. government policy put into place during the Bill Clinton administration, a policy that has led to the deportation of hundreds of American military veterans who were honorably discharged after putting their lives on the line for the U.S.
He doesn't get to see us graduate. He doesn't. I mean, my husband and I just bought a house. He's not able to come see it. He's not able to come, you know, celebrate anything with us, be with us.
Very sad, you know.
Enrique Salas is Stephanie and Myra's dad.
From the time I was 10, that was the only thing I dreamt about being, was a Marine.
A 46-year-old retired Marine Corps infantryman.
Hoorah, exactly.
Salas deployed as part of Westpac 89 and in Operation Desert Storm in 1991.
Semper Fi, always.
Always faithful, the Marine Corps motto. To this day, Salas remains faithful and as passionate for his country and military service as when he signed up with the Marines at 18 years old.
Putting that uniform is the greatest thing in the world.
Salas now lives here in Tijuana, Mexico, in this cement block house on a muddy road where street addresses don't exist. Nearly a dozen years ago, a Border Patrol agent cuffed Salas in front of his then 13-year-old Stephanie and led him away after he'd lost his official U.S. ID. Salas had served time in prison on a drug charge after leaving the Marines.
What's the biggest frustration for you in all of this?
Not being able to be with my daughters and my grandkids.
How hard is that?
Oh, very difficult. I mean, wake up every morning thinking about it, you know, hoping, you know, and praying that nothing bad happens to them, you know, and because God forbid something happened, I wouldn't be able to go back, you know.
It's a horrible injustice.
Nathan Fletcher, a retired Marine himself and a former California assemblyman, knows how the stresses of war can affect veterans.
They struggle finding work, they struggle with substance abuse or purpose, but a grateful nation is supposed to offer them a path to redemption and rehabilitation, not a path to deportation.
1 in 4 veterans returning from Iraq and Afghanistan shows signs of a mental disorder, and 1 in 6 report symptoms of PTSD, according to the National Institutes of Health. Enrique Salas is one of them.
I got to stay positive.
Salas says he suffers from PTSD. He was permanently barred from the U.S. after trying to re-enter the country to be with his daughters. So if Stephanie Ribara wants to see her dad, she has to drive across the border to Mexico. We were there when they reunited for the first time in the new year. Even as a new administration takes power in Washington focused on tightening immigration policy, both hope this will change, that veterans who serve the U.S. faithfully as non-citizens can be brought back to the country they vowed to protect.
Change this policy, you know. If we're willing to give our lives for this country, our country, you know, let us stay.
These men are good enough to serve our country, but once they make a mistake, then, you know, they don't get any second chances.
It's wrong legally and it's wrong morally, and this is one of those things that should be easy to get fixed.
Nathan Fletcher is pushing California lawmakers and the U.S. Congress to change the law governing deportation of veterans.
When you hug Stephanie and you see her, you haven't seen her in a couple of weeks since the new year, right? What goes through your heart and your mind?
Happiness, sadness, all.
You angry?
No.
Despite the fact Nathan Fletcher wants to change the law, so far across 3 different presidential administrations, this law and this policy has not been changed. It remains to be seen to see whether Trump administration will change the law and the policy.
You see it, you can see the heartache in that family.
Absolutely. And there are lots of families just like this.
All right,
I'm
thank you,
sure.
Steve.
Thank you, Stephen.